Alrighty, well, good morning. My name is Nasha Ely. I'm a business relations consultant here at Michigan Rehabilitation Services in the Business Network Division. And today we're here for a Career Pathways Multi-Business Spotlight. We're going to go over a little bit of housekeeping, but first, I just want to take a moment to introduce our panel for today. We have joining us from AAA, the Auto Club Group, Kristen Stepanek. We have Dr. Janice Karazim from WIN in the Health Careers Alliance. We have Jalen Typer from Amazon and Kelsey Ryan from OneStream Software. We further in the session will have another OneStream Software representative with us. Her name is Sarah Arabo, but she will join a little bit later in the morning. So thank you guys for joining us again. We will get into the actual session in a moment, so you guys can turn your cameras off while I go through housekeeping and learning objectives. So again, my name is Nasha Ely. I am a woman with purplish blue glasses. I have on a blue and greenish type of top. My hair is twisted and kind of off to the side in braids. For today's session, we're using Zoom. We ask that any questions or comments that you have be put in the Q&A. If you need closed captioning, that is available by selecting CC or the closed captioning button and then show subtitles. And if you need any additional help or support with the Zoom platform, you can connect to the Zoom Help Center. For today's session, the goal and objectives is for you to obtain information about various career pathways and some summer work experiences. We want you to learn about occupations in the following industries: business management, marketing and technology, health sciences, human services, and engineering, manufacturing, and industrial technology. For the flow of today's session, as I mentioned, we have 4 presenters. Each presenter will have time to discuss their organizations, provide information that they want to share with us today in the career pathways. And at the end of each organization's presentation, there will be time for very specific Q&A about that business. If questions are not answered at the end of each business's session or their delivery of information, we have a final Q&A session at the end of the training, and any questions that weren't answered or any new questions can be put there. We do ask that you use the Q&A feature, as we will be moderating the chat and answering questions that way. So again, we are about to start, and first up we have Kristen Stepanek, and she is with AAA, the Auto Club Group. She's a talent acquisition specialist and works with university relations. So I'm going to turn this over to Kristen. Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Nasha. Yes, my name is Kristen Stepanek, and I'm a talent acquisition specialist at AAA Auto Club Group. And I am thrilled to be here with you this morning. So AAA, the Auto Club Group, is the second largest club underneath the AAA national brand. We operate in 14 states and 2 US territories. And in the 1900s, we began because drivers were confronted with theft, unregulated roads, lack of safety signage. And so as a result, the dangers of automobiles and driving transformed the formation of the American Automobile Association in 1902. And it was founded to protect the rights and interests of all members surrounding the auto industry to promote better safety. And as mentioned at the top, AAA Auto Club Group is the second largest auto club group underneath the AAA national brand. We have headquarters in Michigan, in Dearborn, in the Carolinas, in Charlotte, and in Florida, in Tampa. AAA Auto Club Group also includes MEMIC Insurance, and Fremont Insurance in Michigan. So at AAA Auto Club Group, we put a lot of emphasis on our DEI initiatives. We truly believe we are as unique as the fingerprints that mark individual identity, and that great things come together, happen when people from different backgrounds come together. We live this both internally and externally through our ERGs or affinity groups for members of certain identity groups, but also through our work in the community, through our foundation and our corporate social responsibility team. While we are mostly known for, emergency roadside assistance, I'm sure everyone, either has had help with their car when it's broken down, me, or, knows somebody who has. So besides our auto clubs and, our ERS services, we also do property and casualty insurance, life insurance. We have a bank, we have a travel agency, and we also provide financial services. So we have our hands in lots of different pots. And beyond that, we also have the traditional corporate departments such as HR, field operations, IT, finance, marketing, communications, etc. And so some of these other, some of the jobs that we have, you can go to the next slide, Nasha. Thank you. So just some of the career path examples that we have and offer here at AAA. So we have a fleet driver. You can start by either being a driver or a dispatcher, move to a coordinator, a supervisor, then a fleet manager, and then eventually a director. Dispatchers just need to be 18 or over, have a high school graduate degree or a GED, and the drivers need to be over 21. Typical skills that we look for here are customer service and just ability to collaborate. We have a call center, and you can start as a call receiver and then a dispatcher. You can move to a product specialist, become an ERS supervisor, a manager, and then an operations manager. And for this role, you typically speak to members during an emergency. So you're hearing them at their worst time. They're really stressed out. And so you have to be able to deal with, members in crisis. So it's not for everyone, but it is really a wonderful role. So customer service, retail, service industry, that type of skills, associates is preferred. Phone etiquette, we have both full-time and part-time positions available in our call center. And we also have insurance sales opportunities. So in this role, you would start out as a member representative. You would have contact with our members, be sorting out any issues that they have, or questions that they have in and around our insurance products. And then you would move to member representative 2. You'd become a field sales agent, and then an assistant retail sales leader, a retail sales leader, and then a director. So these are just 3 examples of many different career pathways we have at ACG. We really, as a talent acquisition team, take transferable skills very seriously and would love to help MRS clients find a good fit. And our internship program. AAA Auto Club Group has an internship program, and we really take a lot of intention behind providing a window into what it is actually like to work at AAA Auto Club Group. And so how we do that is through booking meetings with leaders from across our business lines, but also from our departments that are really key to our corporate culture. For example, our OD, our Office of Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion, our Sustainability Office, our ERGs, as I mentioned, and then also our external facing work as well. We offer internships throughout the year, fall, winter, and summer semesters. During the year, during the school year, they typically are part-time, so 20 to 25 hours a week. And then in the summer, they usually are almost all 40 hours a week, I would say. They initially last for 12 weeks, but we have, we don't want to have good talent come and then, just lose it. So while it is a 12-week program, most of our teams do end up, offering at least the option to stay longer past that 12-week program, or past the 12 weeks. It is a paid program. Pay ranges from $18.50 to $22.75 an hour. And then there are also opportunities for mentorship with both within your team that you'd be working with, and then also without the team. So you'll have a lot of exposure to leadership and different individuals and different kind of product lines. And some departments that have offered internship positions in the past have been our IT innovations team, our marketing teams, our finance and investment teams, our sustainability team, and our legal team. We additionally have data analytics internships and actuarial internships as well. And new departments are always, this is something that we've kind of beefed up in the recent years, and so we always have new departments interested. So thank you so much for your attention and for your having me here this morning. Are there any questions that I can answer at this time?
There are some questions. Thank you, Kristen. So one question that was asked was, will AAA work with MRS to explore potential accommodations for MRS customers interested in working for AAA?
Absolutely.
So I guess I have a follow-up to that. Is there the process, is that like the process of requesting accommodation is something that most managers know? I know it would depend on the position, but is it an extensive process? Do you just go to your manager? Do you go to HR? Do you use a portal? Because everyone does things differently.
Yeah, perfect. So the process of requesting accommodations at AAA, how you would do that is you would either, notify us whenever throughout the process. So before you apply, throughout, your time with us, and you can do that by requesting through a portal, and that goes to our accommodations team. And they will work with the manager and then MRS to make sure that your needs are met.
Okay, thank you. We have another question. Do you have any internship opportunities in the customer service settings?
That is a great question. We may have internships coming up this fall in customer service settings, but I can't promise it. I would advise you to check our careers site, which I think we can provide to you at the end of this recording. But I would advise you to check back. Yes, we do. And I think we have more coming very shortly. We typically, though, I will say for the fall, internship, we are doing, we will start recruiting within the next month. So look, keep your eye peeled.
So and then I have a follow-up question. If there are internship opportunities on your website, do they actually say like internship in the title? Okay.
Yes. Yep. You can just go ahead and search internship and any internship positions will pop up.
Okay. And you said you'll start that hiring like in the next month. And I may have missed it because I feel like I saw it on the slide, but the internships go from when to when again?
Yes. So they run for 12 weeks. And so for the fall, they would start on September 11th and run to December 8th. And then the next semester would be January 15th start date and run through April.
And another question. So then those internships are associated with a college program, typically?
Typically, they are. Typically, requirements are that an individual or the intern be a junior or senior studying a 4-year degree or in their master's program. However, we are working across, we are working to expand our internship program. And so we should see additional opportunities pop up this fall.
Okay. So I know there was something with the drivers, they had an age requirement, but what are there age requirements for all positions of employment?
Yes, you have to be legally able to work in the United States. So, traditionally you have to be over 18. I will also mention that we do all positions at AAA Auto Club Group require a background check and a drug screen. And so that's something that, you should be aware of and be comfortable with.
Okay. So then, and now we'll mention this, since we have been engaged with AAA and Keisha Hall Dilligard is the BRC who is working with them directly, and I've been assisting. There's been conversation about potential summer work experiences. So that's something that we are talking about. And I know this is a transition kind of career pathway. So I wanted to make sure people knew that, even though a lot of what we've talked about so far has to do with probably being 18 and over and working, we are in communication and conversation and really trying to develop a process and what it'll look like to have a summer work experience. The other thing is we have also talked about mock interviews and informational interviews, the potential of things like that. So we will keep you posted, but did want you to know that these are things that we are communicating and trying to establish a process in our relationship development. Speaking of that though, can you speak a little bit about any potential summer work experiences, which I think I just talked about, but that's something that is, I would say, just in process, but anything from the AAA side?
It is in process. We are getting, it is something that I feel good about. I can't say definitively, but it's something that I would absolutely keep an eye out for. Not sure about if that would start this summer. It may. More details to come. I'll
More
have to get
details
back
to
to you
come.
on that. Yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you. Sorry to
welcome.
put you on the
Thank you.
spot with that one.
No worries, no worries. Thank you so much.
No problem. There are a couple more questions in the chat.
Excellent.
Another one is, what would the IT innovations internship involve?
Oh, I'm so glad you asked.
How might one apply and which location would this intern work out of?
Yes, great question. One would apply through our careers site, or we also are on Handshake, so we can apply there. I think through the career site would be your best bet, but you can also get in contact with, your either Nasha or Keisha, and they can, contact me if you have any questions or need any assistance in that regard. The second question was?
That was what location would an intern work out of for that position?
Yeah, so they would work remotely. They could come to our Dearborn office and work in our innovations lab. We have a really cool lab set up there. I don't think the team is in there all 7 days. I do think that they're in there 3 days a week though. So it would be a really cool opportunity. Traditionally in IT innovations, the director, it's a really cool program. So the director does not develop or definitively assign a project ahead of seeing who his interns will be. And so what that means is, sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself. I am really excited about this position. So he looks at individuals from backgrounds, including, obviously computer science, right? But also human-centered design, graphic design, psychology, if you can make a good argument for how it could, play a role in creating an app, then that's, they would look at that. They typically want to see that you have done projects outside of any kind of schooling. So any initiative that you've taken on your own to learn a language, a computer language, or any program would be very, very appealing.
Okay, thank you. And we have one last question. What are the baseline requirements of the call center remote positions? And with that, like what does the onboarding look like, a work day, and are there any production quotas?
Wow, that is a great question, and I will have to get back to you on that.
Okay. So we'll make sure that these questions are available for the panelists. And if there's anything that needs to be answered after the fact, we will get that out to the group. So this is one we'll make sure we get back out to everyone. All righty. So thank you so much, Kristen.
Thank you.
Great information. Thank you all who had questions for that section of our presentation. We are now going to move on. I will let you know though, if you have any additional questions that maybe were not answered related to AAA, the Auto Club group, please still put them in the Q&A, because remember, we will have time at the end to kind of open it up for all questions that may not have been answered. Another thing I want to let you know is, as I'm going through and transitioning between the slides, there is a delay. I didn't notice it until I saw Kristen pausing. So there is a little bit of a delay, so just bear with us as we kind of move through this. So next we have Dr. Jan Karazem, who's the Workforce Program Manager at WIN, or the Workforce Intelligence Agency. And she is the lead, I think, of the Health Careers Alliance for Southeast Michigan. So I'm going to pass this over to Janice to share information about health careers. Thank you for joining us today.
Yes, thank you. I'm thrilled to be here. I love to talk about healthcare careers. I started mine over 30 years ago, and a career in healthcare has taken all different directions and has served me very well. WIN stands for Workforce Intelligence Network, and that is the organization that I work for now. It is a nonprofit, and the board of WIN is made up of the 10 community colleges in Southeast Michigan, as well as the 7 regional Michigan Works agencies in Southeast Michigan. However, because healthcare really evolves in systems that are statewide and even beyond, the employers that make up the Health Careers Alliance and the efforts that the Health Career Alliance undertakes thinks of system-wide, statewide, and even beyond. So again, while we do not directly hire, we convene the employers that do. And so that is my role here today, is to talk on behalf of the employers that are hiring. And by the way, I am Dr. Jan Karazem, but I'm not a medical doctor. My doctorate is in higher education. I can't stress enough that there are endless choices within the healthcare industry. There is a job to fit everyone's interests, talents, and capacity, from entry-level training right out of high school to professional doctorate degree training for physicians and physical therapists and others. There's also endless opportunities for career pathways. And the next slide talks a little bit about my own career pathways so that you can see exactly what I'm talking about. In high school, I grew up in a small town here in Michigan, and there wasn't a lot of job opportunities for high school students, but I was lucky enough to get a job with the local chiropractor, and I worked in his office after school and on Saturdays. Did a little bit of everything under his supervision and teachings. I took vitals of patients, their blood pressure and what have you. I prepped them to get them ready for their chiropractic examination and adjustment. I worked the front office. I scheduled patients. I did the insurance billing. I was a really good high school experience for me, and it made me realize that healthcare was going to be my choice of a career. So when I graduated high school, I enrolled in a local community college in their radiologic technology program. A lot of times that's referred to as X-ray technician, and I loved it. So for the next 14 years, I worked in hospital radiology departments, and I worked all 3 shifts. I worked holidays and weekends, worked with all kinds of patients, all ages, and in different specialty areas, from the emergency room to the operating room. I was certified in mammography, CT. So I had a really rich experience as a radiologic technologist. But one of the things I really enjoyed doing as a radiologic technologist was working with the students who were in a program from the local community college. And when they did their clinical education, I got the opportunity to work with them at the hospital and teach them things. And I really enjoyed that. So from that, I knew I wanted to teach. So I took a job as an adjunct instructor at the local community college, teaching radiologic technology courses. But that was an adjunct position. I did that around my hospital work schedule. Fast forwarding 14 years, and an opportunity came my way to have a full-time job as a teacher and a program director at the local community college. I never thought that I wanted to teach full-time and leave the hospital, but I did take that leap. And again, it was a good leap for me because I loved every minute of it in the classroom. And then eventually I moved into a dean's role at the community college and found myself overseeing not just radiologic technology, but all the health science programs offered by the college, including nursing, dental hygiene, physical therapy assistant, and others. Then I did that for many, many, many years, and then I decided to retire. And in my retirement, I now work for WIN, and I work in workforce development, which really what that is using my previous skill set of understanding what individuals need with regard to training and certifications to get the jobs that they want in the healthcare industry. So that tells you a little bit about my journey. It isn't always linear. It isn't always planned out from point A to retirement. But as opportunities persist or present, and you get to know what your interests are, a career essentially evolves, and that is exactly what has happened with my career. So I'm going to try to organize for you the job opportunities in healthcare. And I'm doing that by trying to get you to think about jobs that are direct patient related. We often think, when we think about going into healthcare, we only think about specific jobs, such as those directly related to patient care. doctors, nurses. Sometimes we think about radiography technicians or lab technicians, but there is so much more. But with regard to healthcare jobs that are direct patient care, you're a member of a larger team. That is important to understand, that you're one member of a much larger team. You really need strong interpersonal and communication skills, not only to be an effective member of the team, but also to provide high quality, safe patient care. Also, strong critical thinking skills, problem solving skills, and attention to detail. When you're dealing with healthcare and patients, very important to understand that essentially their health and well-being, it can be in your hands, regardless of what position you have at a hospital or a healthcare facility. Also, when you are interacting with patients, the ability to assess and respond quickly in emergent and urgent situations. That's different for every position. I'll give you an example. If you are a nurse and you walk into a room and you see a patient in distress, that nurse, because of their training and expertise, is going to respond differently than somebody that maybe is a dietary aide and is coming in to bring a meal to a patient and walks into a room and sees a patient in distress. But regardless of what position it is, it's important that that healthcare worker, whether it be the dietary aide delivering the meal or the nurse, the trained nurse, can recognize that that patient is in distress and respond appropriately based on their role to get that patient the assistance that they need. For a respiratory or for a dietary aide, the response may be go to the nurse's station, let someone know immediately that there is a patient in distress, or push the patient's call button. For a nurse, it might be to call an emergent code and start CPR. But it is important for any healthcare worker working with patients that they have an ability to assess and respond quickly in emergent and urgent situations. Examples, and this is a small sampling of direct patient care jobs. Of course, doctors, nurses, nurse aides, medical assistants. I gave the example of a dietary aide that has some patient interaction, but not a lot. But still, if you're delivering meals to patients, you do. I talked about my own career, X-ray technologist, patient transporters, pharmacy technicians, and many, many, many others. Here are some pictures. I wanted to give you a visual of healthcare professionals working with patients. Up in the far left-hand corner, it appears to me that those are either nurses or maybe nursing assistants, or maybe patient transporters that are moving a patient in a bed from one location to another. Over on the upper right-hand side of the screen, you'll see what looks to me like an emergency room, and notice the team working in that kind of an environment. That was very common for my role as a radiologic technologist in a large hospital. I was essentially part of the ER team that responded to trauma situations. And so when you look at those people in that picture, there likely is maybe a doctor, there might be nurses, there might be X-ray technologists like myself, there might be respiratory technologists, there might be lab, a whole variety of people working on behalf of that patient's well-being. Down in the lower left, you notice that looks more like maybe a long-term care or assisted living organization. In the middle lower, that is a doctor's office location. So you see, one person talking with a patient. And over on the far right lower, that could be home care. That could be either a personal care specialist that goes in to look over the general well-being and help somebody in their home so that they can stay in their home. It could be a physical therapist that goes into the home to treat the patient, or a nurse to give medications in the home. So these are all examples to give you an idea that direct patient care comes in many different forms. Now I want to talk about the jobs that are indirect patient care, where there's little to no patient interaction or care. And I cannot stress enough that these jobs, the people in these jobs, are every bit part of the healthcare team. And healthcare could not happen without them, even though they're kind of behind the scenes from direct patient care. They are absolutely necessary in the healthcare industry to provide the care to patients. So again, same thing. These jobs are members of teams. Also, anytime you're a member of a team and working in the healthcare industry, you need strong interpersonal communication skills, strong critical thinking, problem solving, and attention to detail. Examples of some of these types of jobs are medical records technicians, information technology specialists, coding and billing clerks, human resource specialists, central supply technicians, facility engineers, dietary preparation staff. That might be the folks that work in dietary, but they only are involved with the food preparation. Risk management, materials management, the people that make sure that the healthcare facility has the equipment and supplies they need, and that equipment and supplies is delivered to the specific area of the healthcare organization where they're needed. Environmental services, very important. Who makes sure that those rooms are clean and sanitized for surgeries and other procedures, and just the general overall cleaning of patients' rooms and patient areas. There are many. I could go on and on. There is, when we talk about risk management, there are legal teams involved in risk management teams to try to make sure that the healthcare services that are delivered by a healthcare organization are safe. And so that is their whole role. So again, very, very important to the overall healthcare industry, our indirect patient jobs. Here are some examples of some indirect patient jobs. Up in the left-hand corner, what you see there is someone that is working in central supply, also called sterile processing, where they're preparing the trays and equipment and supplies that are necessary for procedures, making sure, again, that they're sterile and that disease cannot be transmitted. So they do not typically interact with patients, but their job is extremely important to the care that those patients receive. Just like the image just to the right of that, you see someone that is cleaning up a patient area, again, to reduce the risk of disease transmission. Down in the lower left, it looks like there is a person working on a computer from home. As a workforce dean, I worked with an employer, and what the employer did was coding and billing for many Michigan hospitals. And all of their coder and billers worked from home. So there is job opportunities in healthcare that allows people to work from home. There are even some nursing jobs that monitor patients that work from home. So things that we think would be only direct patient care, the scope of their job allows them to work from home. To the left of that image is actually biomedical engineers. Those are people that work creating equipment, technology, medications, and other kinds of things that will assist in therapeutic patient care. And then over on the far right-hand side, that is a person who is working with the computerized HVAC system in a large hospital. I knew somebody who worked for the heating and cooling or HVAC system of University of Michigan. He worked on site, but his work was mostly at a computer, making sure that the heating and cooling throughout the entire system was at optimal levels, and then responding when something went wrong. So again, a very critical job in healthcare. Here are some more pictures of indirect care. Over on the left-hand side, you see a young woman at a computer. Again, that looks to me like that is on site in a doctor's office or a hospital or a clinic on medical records. Maintaining medical records is very important. Over to the right, you see a professional there in a white lab coat with a stethoscope. Obviously, if they have a stethoscope around their neck, they are engaged in direct patient care, but they are interacting with a team that could be risk management team. It could be the human resource team. Again, there are plenty of jobs that are critical that do not actually interact with patients. And down below is a food preparation person that is preparing the food in the trays to be delivered to patients. So what I encourage people to do when they think about healthcare is really, a lot of people have told me over the years they want to go into healthcare because they want to help people. And I think that is probably the most common reason people go into healthcare. But I want you to think about yourself first, because, just a second here. I want you to think about what kind of work you want to do. Do you want to work directly with patients, or would you like to work in healthcare, but maybe take one of those non-patient care roles that are equally important? The other thing is what work can you do? I have worked with colleagues in the hospital who were very uncomfortable with small children. Now, they along with the team were able to absolutely provide very high quality care to any children, but they were less comfortable with children. So if you are a person that is uncomfortable with children, going to work in a pediatric hospital would probably not be for you. But what work can you do too? You know, when I was in my 20s and went into radiology, I lifted patients and moved heavy X-ray equipment around the hospital and in the operating room and in the emergency room. And now in my 60s, I don't know that I could lift like that anymore. So what is it can I do? And where do you want to work? If you live in for instance, a rural community, but you see yourself in a urban large hospital, you have to think about that. Are you willing to relocate? And again, who do you want to work with? I gave the example about the pediatric patient as just an example. But think about what it is you want to do, where you want to do it, and who you want to do it with. And hopefully that will help narrow down the kind of healthcare job that you're interested in. Are we at time?
Yes, we do
Okay.
have some questions though, so we'll get into
Hey.
those. Thank you so much, Janice. This was great information. I love the way you broke it down with patient direct versus indirect. I don't think a lot of people think of it that way. So I think hopefully that'll be helpful for the people on the line. And then we have some questions. The first one is the level of stress different for patient direct versus patient indirect jobs?
I think that really depends on the person, the individual person, more so than the job.
Okay.
It really, but that is a great question, because again, thinking about yourself, an individual, what is it that makes you stressed? And then take that into consideration when you're choosing a health career. Absolutely.
Thank you. The next one is, what are the education requirements for some of the positions you mentioned? And I know there's all levels, but
yeah.
if you can just kind of mention a couple.
Usually if you're going to go into an entry level position, hospitals or clinics, doctor's offices usually require a high school diploma or equivalent. They also require a criminal backup, passing a criminal background check and a drug screen. Those are both pretty standard. But a lot of healthcare organizations are willing to hire people who, again, have the ability to be a great team member in their organization, and then support them in training, whether it's on the job training or whether it's through an apprenticeship. And so it can start at entry level, like it did for me in the doctor's office when I was in high school. But most technologists and technicians, let me back up. Technologists like radiography or respiratory care or surgical technologists, most of those are associate degree from a community college. Technicians are usually like a certificate program. So an LPN might be a technician. And then there are some requirements where you go on to get a bachelor's degree, master's degree. If you're going to be a supervisor of a division in a hospital, or like a practice manager for a clinic or something like that, they usually want a bachelor's degree or master's degree. And then of course for physicians, physical therapists, and some of those others, they do require a professional doctorate.
Thank you. So you just mentioned apprenticeships, and I don't know that people really realize you can pretty much apprentice anything, but what are some of the apprenticeship opportunities specific to health careers?
So yes, the ones that there are quite a few employers who have been sponsoring apprenticeships in medical assisting and nurse assisting, and most recently in surgical technologist. They also are sponsoring apprenticeships and EEG technologists. Again, those technologist positions are associate degrees. There's a new one, interventional cardiovascular technologist. I'm working with a group of employers right now, and those employers include hospitals as well as long-term care facilities and others, on establishing an apprenticeship in LPN, so that a nurse aide through an apprenticeship could advance to LPN and then eventually to RN and so on.
And then, I don't know, I don't think you mentioned it, but a lot of hospitals that I'm aware of also have pharmacy tech apprenticeships, and sometimes even your retail pharmacies have pharmacy tech apprenticeship.
Yes, anything can be apprenticed. And what that means is that an apprenticeship includes a formal training program, whether it's, a 3-week nurse aid training program or a 2-year associate degree. So part of the apprenticeship is that. The other part of the apprenticeship then is on the job training. So you're actually an employee for that employer while you're going through your training. So you're getting paid as well as getting your training.
Thank you. So the very last question, and I think this is probably for someone who is like, hey, I want to do this, but I'm only 17. What can I do? So what would you recommend as a good entry point for a young person into healthcare?
Well, yeah.
Another thing they said was, will their non-work experience help? So if they were a babysitter or they helped out, looks like ill family members and things like that, those, I guess, transferable skills, would that be helpful as they are moving into some of these type of positions?
It actually will be helpful. Any of those kind of experiences where you had responsibility will be helpful. I encourage you to apply to a hospital when you're 17 or even 16. Hospitals sometimes will hire people under the age of 18, especially for roles that are non patient care, maybe in dietary or one of those. But what that does is get you a foot in the door, where then you start building a relationship with that employer so that you're well positioned to advance into the career that you would like to advance in. And one of the things I want to say to you all that I've always told all of my students about healthcare is that the thing about healthcare, the healthcare industry, is everybody needs it. And everybody needs it close by. And so it isn't an industry that is going to, pull up stakes and move out of the country. There will always be healthcare. Those jobs, having a job in healthcare is one, pretty available and always has been. And the skills and the certifications are transferable and transportable. So if you decide to move to another part of Michigan or move out of Michigan, your skills and certification that you had in your job here will transport to another organization. So they're really lifelong kinds of skills for you that you build upon. That's the other important thing. It's not one and done, as you saw with my own career. Healthcare evolves, and you have to keep evolving with it. And if you're with an employer, they help you evolve with changes in technology and other things. So
thank you so much. That was our last question for right now.
All
and
right.
Again, if any question wasn't answered that you forgot to put in there, or something comes up that you think about as we're continuing on, put it in the Q&A and we will get to it at the end of the session.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Janice. So now we have Jalen Teifer from Amazon. He is he's a staffing coordinator and workforce staffing there, and he is going to kick off his section. It's all on you, Jason.
Cool.
Sorry.
Thank you so much.
Jalen, I'm sorry, I renamed you.
You're okay. You are okay. So I'm going to go over kind of what it's like to work at Amazon, apply at Amazon, what kind of roles and responsibilities we have, and then at the end show you how to apply for a position. So starting off, working in a warehouse. So we hire for tier 1 associates. Starting at Amazon is a very easy path. It's just using, you're okay on that side. Using technology, scanning customer orders, loading boxes into trucks, receiving inventory, things like that. PIT is an acronym that we use, so Power Industrial Trucks. So sometimes those can go up to 35 feet in the air. Those locations do have disclaimers when you're going to apply for those. So they do give you a job description saying, hey, you will be operating heavy machinery. And there's accommodations at Amazon that have all different types of jobs in different roles. So whether it be operating those power industrial trucks, whether it be just scanning packages, whether it be just moving packages, that is all roles that Tier 1 associates handle. Then we'll get into benefits on the next slide. So benefits we have to offer. We have full-time cover or full coverage for all full-time employees. And it ranges from all different types of healthcare coverages, medical, dental, prescription, vision. There's neighborhood health centers that are right around the corners from facilities. So if you have any emergencies or things like that, there's centers set up around the facilities that you can go and get whatever treatment you may need done. There's 24/7 assistance with any type of program that you may need help enrolling in. So when you get started at Amazon, they send you a benefit package and you basically pick whichever works best for you. They send you the cost breakdown, they send you what the benefit entails, everything like that. Getting into the next slide. Competitive pay. So Amazon does strive to stay competitive with other employers in the general warehouse market. So we do have different wages depending on where the facility that you're applying at. We have about 32 sites in Michigan that we hire for. So there's facilities all the way up in Grand Rapids. We have facilities in Saginaw. We have facilities in Detroit, Romulus, Brownstown. There's tons of different facilities that you can apply at, and they all stay competitive with local warehouses in the area. Moving into the next slide. So Amazon is also striving to give you a work-life balance. So they want to make sure that you get paid time off and vacation time. So those are two separate. You earn accruals. So as you work, you earn time off. And then as the longer your tenure is, the more time off that you earn. They are committed to giving you 2 work breaks as well. You have one paid and one unpaid in a 10-hour workday. And they give you that time off when they or your manager gives you those break times when you show up for work. So he'll say, hey, we're going to go to break at 10:15 and 3:15 today. And then you'll stay on the clock for one, and then you'll be off the clock for another. To give you kind of like a more personal, besides this slide, more personal experience. I started off in a warehouse. I kind of wasn't sure what I wanted to do. I went to school, wasn't for me. Wanted to find different roles within different facilities, things like that. So I actually just applied at Amazon, said, hey, I need part-time work, something to do while I'm going to school. Got part-time work, ended up not going through with school and then going full-time at Amazon, and then flourished into a promotion. And then I was able to get into leadership and management too. So Amazon sees a 2-year work experience as a 4-year bachelor degree. So if you work 2 years at Amazon, you can apply for any management position that requires a 4-year bachelor degree. So that's something very unique about Amazon. They offer great benefits. They offer great opportunity for growth. And whether it be IT jobs, whether it be CBRE, which is what our building maintenance jobs are, there's tons of different roles and everyone is so friendly. I was able to get an offer for transportation management, and that's not even something that I wanted to go into for work. And I was able to go through the process and get a job offer for transportation management if that's something that I wanted to do. So going into this slide, when to look for our jobs. Saturdays at 1:11 and 1 is when the jobs are posted on our website, just hiring.amazon.com. Monday through Friday is when we have our office open. We do run occasionally on weekends. So just keep a lookout on our website. When they have available opportunity on the weekends, we will be in office. And we typically are in office from 8:30 to 4, Monday through Friday. So we'll go into the next slide on how to apply. So we'll just kind of go over like what it's like on the hiring portal when you go to apply for a job. Going into the next slide. So when you go to hiring.amazon.com, this is what will pull up. You just click on My Account. Go on to the next slide. Click Create an Account. On to the next slide. And this is where you'll fill out personal information just like you would a paper application. Name, phone number, email address, things like that. You're going to create a personal PIN that you're going to want to remember, whether it be a 6 or 7 digit PIN. You're going to want to make sure that it's a number that you will remember. And you'll click Next. And that's where it'll verify your email. So it'll send you an email verification code. Go on to the next slide. And that's where you'll paste it right in that box. Next, it'll have you verify your email, or I'm sorry, phone number. You don't have to verify your phone number if you don't wish. It is totally up to you. And if you want to skip it and you click skip, on the next slide, it shows you continue without verifying. So moving on, after you click continue without verifying, it pulls up all the filters. So you filter for the jobs that you want to apply to. So whether it be zip code, whether it be part-time, full-time, this is where you're going to filter out for those jobs. And on the next slide, this is where you're going to enter in your zip code or city. And you can see work hours. So you can filter it for 10 work hours, 20 work hours, 30 work hours. If you want early morning shifts, daytime shifts, evening shifts, all different types of shifts available at Amazon. We have flex shifts. We have part-time availability, full-time availability, just depending on what is available. Moving on to the next slide. Once you put in all of your information, you'll click Show Results. And this is where you'll click Job Opportunities. Warehouse jobs. This is the warehouse jobs are, this is kind of what I was talking about, how there is tons of different roles at Amazon. Sorry to kind of skip over that quickly. Fulfillment center jobs, sortation center jobs, delivery station associate. So these are all the different roles that I was talking about on that first slide that we were going over. So the XL warehouse facility, that's going to be your power industrial trucks. So those order pickers that go 35 feet in the air. XL warehouse stands for extra large. So that's where you're going to be handling more heavier items. TVs that are ordered through Amazon, beds, I don't know, cases of water, things like that. Those are all going to go through the XL warehouse. So the sortation centers, the fulfillment centers and deliveries stations, those are going to be more of your scanning packages, loading trucks, things like that. So once you go to the job overview, it brings you onto the next slide, where you enter in your zip code again. And for demonstration purposes, I put Detroit, Michigan. That is where I'm based out of, in the Pontiac area. And again, just for demonstration purposes, this is what a applying to a job would look like. So fulfillment center, warehouse associate, pay rate up to $16.25. Once you click into the job and tap on the screen, on the next slide, it shows you work shift. So this is where you kind of pick a shift, see what works best for you. Once you click on select a shift, this is where it pulls up all the shifts that will be available. Now at this time, when I created this, it was only one shift available. So there's obviously only one shift, and just kind of how to read it, how you would work. It would be at the Amazon Fulfillment Center at 1220 Featherstone, Pontiac, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, 7:30 a.m. to 6 p.m. for 40 hours a week on a seasonal duration employment with the start date of 3/29. Again, that's just for demonstration purposes. Just wanted to show what it would look like when we go through and apply. So once you find a shift that you like, there's going to be tons of different options, Saturdays, Fridays and Saturdays. So pick a shift that works best for you in a location. You'll click on the apply. Click on the next. And that's where you'll create application. So working at Amazon, you don't need a high school diploma, but you just have to be 18 years old or older. And be willing to submit a drug test. So we'll click create an application. So this is a very important part of the application process. Since Amazon is so tech oriented, we do have a lot of tech enhancements that unfortunately, if your application isn't created in the 3-hour time frame, it does withdraw you from the application. So when you go select a shift, you start creating the application, just be sure that you go through and pick an appointment, or if it's something that you don't want, you go back and withdraw, just so there's no rejection or anything. Sometimes when the spot doesn't get held for a candidate, sometimes the shift gets dropped, and then it gets confusing because it sends you a few emails saying that you created an application, but sometimes it could get confused with you have an appointment. So just be sure that if you are to create an application, you go through the process entirely. Go to the next slide. So this is where you'll fill out personal information, self-identification, just like you would a typical application. Go next. And if you choose not to self-identify, that is okay. You can not identify. Then we'll click next, getting into self-identification of veteran status. If you are a veteran, active veteran, or a military spouse, we do encourage you to apply. There's about 100,000 retired military, student veterans, active duty members. There are tons of different ranges of opportunity within Amazon. So if you were interested in applying, just go ahead and self-identify. There's tons of different roles. We have a Warriors Affinity group that is dedicated to military events and partnering with military groups. Moving on to the next slide. We chose to not self-identify, but just kind of showing you what it would look like moving through the process. Moving on to the next slide. And this is where disabilities would be stated. If you don't wish to answer, that is totally okay. But Amazon does have a full disability and leave services team, 24-hour standby. So they have any accommodations team. They can set up interpreters for your first day. They can give you work accommodations to tend to any needs, lifting restrictions, work hour restrictions. There's so many different avenues and opportunities. We highly encourage you to identify those disabilities so that we can accommodate you properly. I know that there are, we just had a candidate come in yesterday that needed interpretation for their first day. So we were able to submit a ticket, have a interpreter set up for their first day so that they're set up for success. At the end of the day, it's all about your success, and we want to make sure that you strive in whatever your endeavors may be with Amazon. So we just want to make sure that you are fully accommodated for. Moving on to the next slide, this is kind of what it looks like once you get through. So your start date would be the 29th on a Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday shift, 7:30 a.m. to 6 p.m., $16.25 an hour there at the Pontiac location. Moving on. This is where you'll accept the offer or go back to jobs. If it's not something that you want, you can just go back to jobs and it'll take you right out of that application and go to different jobs that are available. Moving right along. So this is personal information again. You're going to want to fill out this information to the best of your ability. Typical application information rather than doing it on paper. It's all done on the website through your phone or tablet. Moving right along. This is for the background check. Now, this is very important that you put your full name in this box, and you want to make sure that, and I'll show you on the next slide, but the name matches on the next slide, because if there's any discrepancies, it won't let you move forward, and it will give you an error, and it gets kind of confusing sometimes. So however you type in your first name or I'm sorry, your full name on this box, just make sure that you type it in the same on the next slide. And this is where you'll type your full name in. And if you want a copy of your background check, you can get a copy. Moving on to the next slide. And just like how we had Jane Doe, we're going to put Jane Doe exactly how we spelt it on the first slide, just so that there's no discrepancies on the application. Sometimes it can get confusing and give you an error message. So just want to be sure that we are doing everything that we can. And this is just additional background check information for demonstration purposes. We select no, fill out your personal information. Moving on to the next slide. This is where you'll put your social security number in, your zip code, date of birth, if you ever worked at Amazon before. Keep moving on. And this is where you'll select an appointment. So you'll come see us in the office on a Monday through Friday shift, or Monday through Friday. We work, like I said, 8:30 to 4. You'll see us in the office to submit your drug test, to process your work authorization documents. So you want to bring 2 forms of work authorization with you. You just pick a day that works best for you. And on the next slide, it kind of shows you that there are tons of different options and times. So just be very cautious as to when you're picking that time. You have 30 minutes blocked out for you and you only. So just make sure that you are able to go, and the team will fully accommodate you for whatever those 30 minutes may be. Once you select a time, you'll go ahead and confirm your selection. And on the next slide, it just confirms everything. So your start date would be the 29th. On a Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday shift, 7:30 a.m. to 6 p.m., $16.25 an hour, 40 hours a week, seasonal duration, so on and so forth. Once you submit the application, it brings you to the final steps to just create the last few slides of the application process, confirming that the appointment works for you, things like that. What to bring on your first or on your orientation day, what kind of work authorization documents you need, things like that. And if you ever have any questions or anything, please come see us at our Pontiac location, 1220 Featherstone. That is where I sit out of personally. So you can come see me. I'd love to come talk to you about different opportunities. Amazon does also have different roles, so not always there are only tier 1 opportunities. There's tons of different roles within Amazon, whether it be just scanning packages, there's IT jobs, things like that.
Thank you so much, Jalen. And we do have some questions.
Yep.
All righty. So you gave us a lot of information.
Yes.
Can you speak to what does the day-to-day work of a warehouse worker look like? Like, what are their job responsibilities? How physically demanding is it, and things like that?
For sure. So day-to-day is typically a 10-hour shift for your basic shift within Amazon full-time. Basic responsibilities can be anywhere from pick. So when I started, I was in the pick, which is picking out items for customers. The best way I like to explain it is, say someone goes on Amazon, selects they want to order an Apple Watch band. There's actually a screen that comes up and the item is actually picked out of a bin, put down a line, then sent out to pack. So they are able to pack the item out. Once you pack the item out, it gets sent to the ship dock, and that's where it gets loaded into trucks and gets sent out to customers. So day to day are just scanning packages, whether it be picking items out, working on the ship dock, palletizing packages to be loaded onto trucks. Delivery stations are loading the back of those vans that you see coming down the street for all the awesome Amazon orders, everything like that.
Okay. And is it physically demanding?
It's not physically demanding. I wouldn't say, but if you do find that it is too physically demanding, there's tons of different accommodations that can assist with whatever your needs may be. I know that there's tons of accommodations for people that say, hey, I can't lift over 25 pounds. And if that's the case, there's no issue at all. They put you in a work area that has no restrictions for weight bearing items. So they'll put you in an area that won't have anything over 25 pounds.
Okay. So we have another question. What other positions might be available if a person wants to like start in a warehouse? And you answered the second half of that, how old do you have to be? So this is 18 and up, correct?
Yep.
But if someone started in a warehouse, what else could they do from that?
Yeah, so if you start in the warehouse like I did, you can move into HR, you can move into workforce staffing, you can move into Amazon IT, where they set you through like their own certification program. So Amazon has tuition reimbursement. So after your first year, they'll do tuition reimbursement and also help you with placement as to what you want to go to school for. As far as like other positions, there's CBRE, which is like our building maintenance. They'll put you through a training program too, where they fly you out to Texas, I believe it was last time I heard, and they put you through a training program, kind of show you the ropes and things like that, and then they help you with a contract to get placed at a building and continue to work.
Okay, thank you. So here's a question. With the application process and hiring being fully automated, what challenges have candidates expressed, or have there been challenges expressed? And if someone does need assistance applying, or a real person, what would they do?
Yeah. So there are, I'm going to be transparent. There are some hiccups. It's an automated system. However, we are in our office in Pontiac, and I actually came from DTW1 in Romulus. So we have a Romulus facility too on Ecorse Road. They are so friendly there. They are just as friendly as we are here. They will always take drop-ins. So if you ever have questions, they'll allow you to drop in and just be like, hey, like I wanted to apply, wasn't really sure kind of what was available, needed help with the application process. We have tablets set up so that you can hop onto the tablet and walk through the application process with a coordinator or an administrator on site.
Okay, thank you. And then if someone wants to work at Whole Foods, do they still apply through Amazon?
Yes, it is through Amazon still. However, their hiring is few and far between. So if you want like a direct Whole Foods job, it's going to be through Whole Foods. However, Amazon's Whole Foods positions are more so like shopper positions and things like that. So if you are to look for those, just look for them on the shopper positions. So back on the slide, I know that there's a recording being sent out, but back on one of the slides, there was an option where it showed you warehouse jobs, delivery XL, sortation center. On the right, there's Lockers Plus, warehouse shopper, things like that. So discover those opportunities through that link tab.
Okay, thank you. And I asked, that question is in there. I'm glad someone asked it because people know Whole Foods is attached to Amazon, but like I didn't even know it was separate at the same time.
Yep.
So that was good to ask. And then the last question is, how is the pay rate determined, or does everyone start at the same amount?
Yeah. So pay rates determined on higher up than me, to be transparent with you. It's based on what the market is. The building sets a pay rate for the building. To give an example, it's $16.25 here at Pontiac, but it's $16.75 for a new facility that's going in the city. In Romulus, it's 1625. In Grand Rapids, it's 1635. So it just depends on like what's competitive in the market. Now, if you do work a night shift, there's going to be a shift differential added depending on what shift you work, and it lays it out on the application process. It'll say 1625 an hour plus an additional $1.25 added to this wage,
Okay.
and it'll determine that way.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Again, no problem. Again, if anyone has questions specific to Amazon that didn't get answered now, you can put those in the Q&A. And when we get to the final overall Q&A, we can ask that question then. So next, I am introducing Kelsey Ryan. She's the Director Global of Talent Acquisition Operations, and Sarah Arobo, Senior Manager of Talent Acquisitions America, and they're from OneStream Software. So I'm going to pass it over to them. Thank you guys so much for joining us today.
Whoops, forgot to unmute myself. Now I'm unmuted. Hi, everyone. How is everyone doing today? Thank you for joining. As Nasha had mentioned, my name is Kelsey Ryan or Kelsey Brown. I'll go by either. But Nasha, if you want to fast forward to the next slide. Thank you. So just a quick agenda. So we'll go into kind of introductions for myself and for Sarah, and then talk through an overview of OneStream, different career pathways, our internship program, and how everyone can stay connected with us. Perfect. So myself, my name is Kelsey Ryan or Brown. I go by both, so whatever you choose. But if you are looking to connect with me on social media, such as LinkedIn, definitely search Kelsey Brown because that's where it'll pop up. As Nasha had mentioned, I am the Director of Global Talent Acquisition Operations here at OneStream. I've been here since October of 2016, so coming up on 6.5 years, which is crazy. Lots of fun, and excited to kind of tell you a little bit more about OneStream. Sarah, I'll pass over to you to do a quick introduction.
Awesome. Nice to meet everybody. My name is Sarah Arabo. I'm, like Kelsey and Nasha mentioned, the Senior Manager of Talent Acquisition here. And I just hit my 4-year anniversary at the tail end of last month. So it's been a fun ride. I've been working alongside Kelsey ever since I joined, and excited to get the chance to chat with you guys today.
So as many of you probably aren't aware, but some may be aware, we are OneStream, formerly known as OneStream Software. So what we are is we are a financial software company, and the product that we provide our customers is called Corporate Performance Management, or better known as CPM for short. Really what that means is a company uses our platform or our product to upload their financial information, typically from a general ledger system, and then use that platform to do financial consolidation and reporting. But then from there, they can also do things as, people planning, thing planning, forecasting, budgeting, and about 50 plus other different solutions that are available to our customers. Really what we're trying to do in the vision that we set out as an organization is to provide a world where finance departments leverage modern software applications that unify and streamline the process across the enterprise to minimize system maintenance and allow them to get back to business and ultimately life, right? Because if you're in finance and accounting world, end of the month is usually very busy, end of the quarter is even busier, and then end of the year is just a lot if you don't have a system to help you. So really that's what our product does, but ultimately we're a finance software company at the heart of everything we do. So I figured I'd add in a quick video just to kind of show you a little bit more about what is it like to work here, a little bit more to hear from our CEO too, and our head of HR as well, just to kind of hear who and what we are.
Once I started, can one of you please give me a thumbs up that you can hear the sound? Thank you.
Absolutely.
OneStream was founded in 2010 We're really focused on very large, complex organizations that have global businesses around the world and a lot of complexity, whether that's different currencies, different countries, different regulations. And our job is to really help those companies make sense of that big logistical battle that they have. What makes us unique is that focus where we sort of are in this high-tech industry and we're delivering a really sophisticated product, but we still have sort of a Midwest values proposition on how we do business and how we conduct ourselves. So the work hard, play hard mantra kind of goes to the core of being a startup company. When you're a startup company, you have to move mountains. And so you have to expect your employees to work hard, but you have to acknowledge that. And so at the end of the day, you want to stop and celebrate together and mark the occasion, mark the successes. We like to get together and blow off steam, whether that's going to a top golf simulation or play dodgeball out in the gym. It's things that we do together as a team to celebrate the work effort that we put in together. So it's really an acknowledgement of the exceptionalism that it takes to be part of a fast-growing startup. So why do we have our headquarters here in Rochester, Michigan? Why didn't we go run off and run to Silicon Valley or any of the other tech meccas? And we have an opportunity here to become the nucleus of a tech hub and attract great people, leverage the universities and leverage the workforce that's around us. I think it's one of our best kept advantages or best kept secrets.
The core of OneStream's culture here is work hard and play hard. There's a very unique opportunity here that you really get to have an impact on what you're doing. The work is hard, it's complex, but it's also hugely rewarding. And the teams that you're working with are in collaboration and not competition. So I think that's what's really different. One of the things I'm the most proud of is the impact that OneStream has in this community. We make it a point to support a lot of local charities and local organizations around the holiday time, and even quarterly throughout the year. There's always something going on and something for our employees to engage in. So they really feel a part of the community, and we are consistently giving back. Being at OneStream is, of course there's a culture, but there's also a lot of nice things that we do for our employees. We make sure our employees are fed, that there's tons of snacks in the cupboards all the time, that there's a gym for them to work out in. People invest so much time here. We want to make sure this is a place where people want to be. So there's the VR system, there's the video games, there's the ping pong competitions, there's basketball happening. We have a fantastic training center here. Education is of great importance to us as a company. We make sure our people are at the cutting edge of all the different technologies. So I'm very proud of what we're offering here and how our employees have grown. OneStream is nominated as a top workplace in Metro Detroit, and that was a huge accomplishment for us. The fact that our employees recognize what we're doing and they are experiencing what we set out for them to experience from the very beginning is what makes me so proud to be part of this company.
Awesome, thank you. So just to give you a little bit of history on OneStream, now that you've seen a little bit of one of our offices. So it all started back in 2009 when our CEO and CTO had, and for those of you that don't know, that's our Chief Executive Officer and our Chief Technology Officer. They got together to create a competitive product to those that are in the marketplace. Then we went live with our first customer in 2012, which, for fun fact for anyone, we actually gave that to them for free originally, just so that we could get the best feedback, really make sure that we were understanding from the customer what needed to be fixed, what could be improved upon, and to ensure that we could go into the market with the best product that was available. So we officially went out to the market in 2013. We then opened our first headquarters in Rochester, Michigan, which is the office that you just saw in the last video. And then in 2015, and that was opened in 2015. And then we went into hypergrowth mode since then. We've been growing quite aggressively over the last couple of years through employees, customers, and has really just kind of taken off. And then in 2018, that's really where we started to focus on growing globally and expanding into multiple countries. So not only are we here in US, Canada, and Mexico, but we also have employees and customers through EMEA and then also through APAC as well. And then in 2022, we relocated our headquarters from Rochester, Michigan to Birmingham, Michigan. However, we still have the Rochester office as well. And as Nasha can attest to, our Birmingham office is quite a fun building as well. So definitely a little bit more modern than industrial, as you saw in the video. And then that brings us to today, where we meet you. You want to go to the next slide? Just to give you an idea of where we are at. So we are about 1,257 employees here at OneStream, spread throughout 20 different countries in 46 different states here in the US. However, majority of our employees are actually still based here in Michigan. We have kind of a map of the locations so that you can see kind of where we're all spread out. Anything with the blue pin represents our office location. So we have offices in Rochester, Michigan, Stratford, Connecticut, Atlanta, Georgia, Fort Lauderdale, Florida, Golden, Colorado, Manchester, United Kingdom, Amsterdam in the Netherlands, Sydney and Melbourne, Australia. And then, as I mentioned, we do have a highly remote workforce. So a good majority of our employees now are remote. I'd say up to about 60% are remote, but some do still attend in office. So now that you've learned a little bit of background on OneStream, kind of wanted to talk through a few different career pathways here at OneStream. So we kind of broke down into 4 different subsets. So first is our technology offering. So our technology path, those individuals have a mixture of degrees from MIS, information technology, some have finance and accounting degrees, or some have earned technical certifications along the way. So some of those technical certifications, just for awareness, are like Microsoft certifications, Cisco certifications, as well as, like I mentioned, degrees too from there. So some of those teams on the technology standpoint, and this would really be the largest teams that we have as well. So those would be our cloud operations team. So for those of you that are interested in the technical forum, right, those are individuals that are helping our customers that are within our product, specifically within the cloud. They're helping to spin up their environments, keep the health of the environment, and help troubleshoot any product issues from there. Then we've got our product support team. So those are the individuals that are on the phones with our customers, usually when their product is down or there's an issue or they need to troubleshoot something. So not always, the customers aren't always the happiest when they get on the call, but our product support team is absolute rock stars and have a really, really great relationship with our customers and help them resolve any technical issues that may arise. Then we've got a remote consulting support team. So these individuals are kind of the escalation team to our cloud and product support team. So these are individuals that typically have an accounting and finance background or experience, but are also extremely tech savvy. So they're kind of our gurus of anything and anything that could go wrong. They know how to fix it. And then we've got our information technology or our IT and security team. So those are the individuals that are building, troubleshooting, and really helping support our internal employee base. They're also helping with networking, wiring, and ensuring that our offices are up and running to ensure that business runs smoothly and that everything is secure as well from that point of view. Then the next is our development team. These are individuals that are building, creating, updating, testing our product to ensure that we deliver the best product that is possible to our organization. So these individuals typically hold information technology degrees, engineering degrees, some accounting and finance, and then once again, some certifications if they don't have a 4-year degree from there. Then our next department that we broke out to was our customer relationship group. So these are individuals that are either in front of our customers or behind the scenes supporting our customers. These range anywhere from our sales department, from the individuals that are, calling, researching, figuring out who could potentially be a customer if they're not already a customer, engaging them and introducing them to the customer, to those that are going on site, demoing our product, right, introducing the product more in depth, and are really kind of holding the full sales life cycle. Then from there, you've got, once the deal is signed and closed, you have our consulting services team. So those are the individuals that are going on site to our customer and actually implementing our product onto our customer sites. This also can be done remotely, as we've kind of had to shift through COVID. Before, it was very heavy on our customers' sites, and now it's a little bit more of a mixture of remote and on customer sites. Then from there, we also have our strategic alliances team. So really, those are the individuals that are working within our partner network. So You can implement, buy, sell, and train our product either through OneStream directly or through our partner network as well. So that's really where the strategic alliance team comes into play. And then we have our education services team. So these are the folks that are training the administrators of our product, our consultants, our sales folks, right, about our product and how to use our product successfully. Then once you kind of get through the customer phase, we have the administration phase. So that's anyone from our receptionists to our facilities managers, facilities coordinators, to HR, such as myself and Sarah, our accounting and finance teams, our legal team, our risk and compliance, and our project management team. So we're really the folks that keep everything running, more so usually behind the scenes, but office administration, you know, taking care of the office, greeting people when they come in. As you saw, we have lots of snacks, lots of games, making sure that's all up and running, that we've got food to feed folks. And one of the nice things too is we bring lunch in every single week for our employees. Typically every Wednesday, so kind of middle of the week, but arranging that, making sure that it really feels like home. That's our whole goal when you walk into our building, is that you're kind of a home away from home. Then you've got obviously accounting and finance, the folks that are keeping the bills paid, the lights on, ensuring that we have money to pay everyone, all of that good stuff. You've got our legal team who's negotiating contracts, setting up our employment agreements, anything from a legal perspective. Our risk and compliance team. So those are individuals that are working with different government regulations to ensure that we, you know, are doing everything that we need to do. So performing audits and all of that great stuff. And then our project management team is assisting with any projects that we have going on. So they're individuals that are helping if we have an internal project to spin up a new software, right? Or we have a large organization wide, they're helping to ensure that project stays on track and that all individuals are ready and able to help. So as you can kind of see, most of our roles that we are looking for are a little bit more mid to senior level roles and organizations. However, we are adjusting this a bit as we've looked to begin more entry level hiring for some of the departments that have been mentioned. So a great way to get into the organization that I always like to mention, if you don't necessarily have a college degree or a certification, is to go through our office administration. That way you get to learn more about the business. They interact with every single department, and we really encourage growth within the organization. So a few stories that I love to tell is we had one of our now controllers within our accounting department. She actually started out in our office administration, interned then with our accounting team, and then grew her role into now a leadership role within our accounting team. Also, Martha Engel, who you saw on the video, who is the head of our talent development and talent acquisition team. She actually started out as an office administrator as well and took on projects within HR and then grew her career all the way to a VP level. So definitely we encourage folks to get into the organization and then learn different avenues and different functions of the organization. But an even better way to get in as well is through our internship program. So I will pass the mic now to Sarah, who leads up our summer internship program, where she can tell you more.
Thanks, Kels. Yeah, so internships at OneStream. So I always like to start off with a little bit on my background and when I joined OneStream. So I joined in 2019. And just so happened to join just after internship recruiting finished up. So that was the summer Kelsey was teaching me everything about internships, the program, to where I would have taken on the opportunity to lead it the following years. And so I think we had about 12 interns at the time, and they were pretty much all located out of Rochester. So take that mindset and then take us now 4 years down the road. Our internship program has grown, to a global virtual slash hybrid, I should say, program. So this year we're going to have 51 interns globally, spun across the globe. We've also increased our countries that we're involved in. So for example, last year we didn't have interns based out of Sweden or Canada, and this year we are. So don't get me wrong, bulk of the interns are based out of North America, especially local to Michigan as well, but again, has grown immensely. So why internship? So our 10-week program provides, again, real world experience, mentorship from our professionals within the software CPM industry. And during the program, our interns are tasked with, a number of different projects within their current team or the team that they would hire into. And we'll get to that here in a second. They'll experience cross-functional collaboration, attend a variety of different learning sessions that we offer. We also do a big volunteer day. So whether you are remote or on site, everybody does participate in that, which has always been very fun. And we also offer our interns an opportunity to present everything that they've learned at the end of the program as well. So taking all of those different fun things that we do, including we do a resume writing session, LinkedIn writing session. We also offer intern networking hours because, again, as we've gone to a virtual global program, you might not get to the chance to meet somebody that, you know, sits in Amsterdam or Manchester. And so it's a time for all of us to get together, collaborate effectively, and learn more about the business as a whole. So to participate in the program, so we mainly are looking at rising juniors, seniors, and post-grad folks. So maybe 6 to 9 months post-grad is what we typically will look at. And the reason being is because the end goal for us, and of course, hopefully the intern themselves, is to join us full time. And we want to make sure that we are being respectful to university calendars and schedules, and knowing that joining a full-time job while still being in school might be a little challenging. But we want that opportunity for folks to join us full time. So we are very flexible. We've had people join us part-time before joining full-time. And especially if they were just finishing up like a last semester or something along those lines. But boatloads of opportunity, more specifically this year with some newer groups even participating in the program. So sales, our business development team, they participate every single year. Historically, they've converted their interns full-time, I think every single year, as well as our consulting services team. So both of those, I'm just going to single those ones out for right now, but both of those groups, great ways to join the organization from two different perspectives. Say you wanted to take on say you wanted to go and travel and be on the road a little bit, get a little technical exposure to the software. You might want to veer more towards consulting services, excuse me. You'd be joining a team of folks that are on site with the customer, implementing, integrating, migrating the product, whatever that might be from a project standpoint, but very technical type role. From there, consulting services typically brings their folks on full time, maybe into an associate consultant role. And we've actually seen quite a few people grow from the internship program onto lead and manager roles. And two of those folks are actually going to be speaking to our interns this summer as former interns. So again, just singling out consulting and business development, as those are really two good neck of the woods, more from a sales perspective. Business development is great. Get that experience as an intern, join us full time, and then you can kind of take your path into quite a few different areas within our business, whether that is strategic alliances, sales, pre-sales, even marketing. I've seen people go from business development into marketing. So I think the one beauty about our program, but let alone OneStream, is the collaborative opportunity. So just because you start in one department doesn't mean that's your end all be all. And so I think the internship program is a great place to kickstart what could be somebody's future here, no matter where they see themselves. Rounding out the rest of the groups that we see here within the program, like Kelsey had mentioned on the previous slide, cloud and product support are two of our other really massive teams we see a lot of growth with. Customer success, accounting and finance, marketing, like I mentioned, education. So those folks are they're teaching others about the product. So maybe it's a internal employee that is joining OneStream and they need them to go through OneStream training, or a partner or a customer of ours. The education team would be a really cool place to start if you're interested in that path, as well as compliance and risk. So like I mentioned, quite a few areas and growing from there, and lots of opportunity to increase over the years. Kelsey, I don't know if there's anything else you wanted to add there.
No, we have a quick video just of what we put forth for our internship program last year. Nasha, if you just wanted to play that one, it should the picture on the right. Yep.
Yeah, so that was I like this too, because so you see them making those blankets there, and that was actually our volunteer opportunity, Fleece and Thank You. So they're actually born and bred out of the Metro Detroit area. And so providing these little blankets for our children in hospital or just areas along the lines of that, and putting a smile on somebody's face. So that was a really fun day that we actually had in our Birmingham office location. And we plan to work with Fleece and Thank You this year again. So really excited about that. We'll move over to the next slide. Yeah, so really just learning more and staying connected. So where can you find our opportunities? So mainly two different places, our careers page. So if you were to go again directly to onestream.com, just click on About Us and Careers on your top right, and you take you to the landing page on the left. Again, all of our roles are located on our website, but for the entire company globally. And then to the right, our LinkedIn page. Again, you'd be able to find every opportunity, what's going on at OneStream, all of the fun opportunities that we might have going on outside of just our postings alone. But the LinkedIn Live page is a great place to explore, just to know what's going on at OneStream. And lastly, how to stay connected with us. So Kelsey and I wanted to make sure we dropped our contact information here. So you have our LinkedIn as well as our emails. If you're interested in just learning more about OneStream, maybe there's a specific opportunity that you saw, or maybe even more specific, want to learn more about the internship program. Again, feel free to reach out to us directly, and we would look forward to speaking with you all soon. And that should wrap it up from there. Kelsey, I'll kind of turn it back to you if there's anything else on your end as well.
Nope, I think I saw potentially some questions coming in.
Yes, there are some questions. Thank you. Before I get into the questions, though, you had an acronym that you said earlier.
CPM?
Nope. On the page with the map, like
EMEA and APAC?
yes. What is that?
So APAC is Asia Pacific. So what that means is Australia, Singapore, China. So anything around the Asia Pacific area or country map. And then EMEA is Europe and the Middle East and Africa. So just kind of, yeah, sorry, I always forget that that's not a commonly known thing and just a normal spiel for me.
Oh, no problem. You said it and I'm like, I need to find out what that is, because I'm assuming it has to do with the map, but I'm not real sure.
You know us, all our acronyms.
Okay, so we do have some questions.
Yeah.
The first one is, hypergrowth has its pros and cons. It looks like you've worked hard to maintain that fun and inclusive culture. For a new employee, it can be intimidating to work for such a wow environment. How do you help acclimate a new employee?
Absolutely. Great question. And definitely it does have its pros and cons, right? That it's very hard sometimes to make sure you keep that in focus. And that's why we actually have a whole entire team developed solely to our culture. It's a part of our talent development team, so our HR team as well. But one of the things that we try to do is ensure that the onboarding process, right? We're staying connected from an HR team, we're staying connected, the recruiter staying connected to the new individual coming on board, but also that, you know, your team, you're getting involved in your team, you're getting connected, showing the different availabilities that we have to, we have a lot of employee resource groups that are available to new employees, trying to get them involved as quickly as possible, because it really is a community. And I have to give amazing kudos to our team, because they do a really great job at making sure that everyone gets involved from day one and that they have kind of like a buddy system as they've gone through. Sarah, I don't know if you want to mention if there's anything that I forgot or anything you want to add on from that.
No, you did a great job. The only thing I'll say too is like I think that was a really great question, because that was something I think I felt when I first came here too. It was like that hyper growth, am I going to survive? Again, it can be a little daunting, but one thing, and I'm so grateful to say that it hasn't changed in 4 years, but you work alongside some of the most supportive, genuine, and authentic people here. And so no matter if they're in your department or not, you have, like Kelsey mentioned, you have resources to be able to go to and say, hey, can you point me in the direction of like this or that? And I've never come across a soul here that wouldn't be willing to do that, or would probably give you 3 different ways that you could do it on top of that. So I think that was just a really great question, because I think it was something that I thought about when I came here myself. So yeah.
Thank you so much. Oh, go ahead.
We joke too with people that we're the type of people here that it's like, you're asking a question in the classroom, right? And we're like, oh, pick me, like, I'll help you. You need help? Okay, let's do this. So you're never alone. And the nice thing is we're all going through it together, right? Yes. We all are experiencing the hyper growth, some with the pains of hyper growth and some with the greatness of hyper growth. So you're not alone.
Mm-hmm. So the next 2 questions I'm going to kind of combine.
Yeah.
What type of degrees do employees at OneStream have coming in? Because it seems like there's kind of a lot of different things going on. I think when I think IT is always an IT degree, and it does not seem to be that way. And then how much work experience is needed for someone that comes in with a certification versus a degree?
Yeah. So I would say typically what you're seeing a lot of at OneStream is accounting and finance degrees. That's kind of where more of our, or just general business administration. When you do get into more of the specifics within the technology, that is where we're seeing a little bit more of your traditional information technology degrees, your MIS degrees as well. But typically it is kind of more your information technology or finance accounting is kind of the split that we have. But then we do have folks that have, English degrees, or we have folks that have philosophy degrees, HR degrees. We have kind of a wide variety. So I kind of joke that, and as Sarah mentioned too in her, when she was talking about the internship program, just because what you get a degree in doesn't mean that's always going to end up where you end up at, right? For the certification piece, it really depends on the role itself. We have some roles that are a year of experience to 5 years of experience, or more so senior level roles that are 5 to 10 years of experience with certification. So just depends on the leveling of the role.
Thank you. A real quick one. You may have mentioned it. How many employees are in Michigan?
So we've got about 200 employees that sit out of Michigan, but are all spread out through Michigan.
Okay.
We've got probably about, I'd say like 40 to 50 that report to an office on a regular basis, but majority are remote.
Okay. And then with your customer base, and I know it's finance, but what industries? Is it only finance? Is it only banking industries? Like who's your customer base?
Yeah, so that's the great thing about OneStream, is we are not industry specific in any sort of means. So we have customers in automotive, manufacturing, in retail, in fashion, in diamonds, and gas and oil. So it's really, as long as you have a finance and accounting department, our product will work for you.
Okay.
Yeah, we more or less focus on the size of the environment that we support. So mainly medium to enterprise scale organizations. But like Kelsey mentioned, we don't, whoever's got the need for us, which again, sitting in the financial software space, who doesn't need a financial software to close their books or report numbers to the SEC or whatever it might be. But yeah, I think that's the beauty behind our offering and the way the software is set up itself.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
And it looks like we have one more question. Are internships also posted on the Career Opportunities website? If not, where would one apply for your internship program?
Yeah, so that's exactly where you would find them. Unfortunately for this year, we did just wrap up our internship recruiting for this year. However, just because we wrapped up this year, I actually go straight into planning for 2024. So we're hoping to have these roles posted closer for 2024, closer to the end of this year. And so that way our recruiting process, again, typically will happen in the beginning of the new year. And then our program is kicked off in June to August. So if you're interested in any 2024 opportunities, I would look for them closer to the end of this year, or again, feel free to connect with me on LinkedIn, reach out to me directly, and I'm more than happy to continue conversations until then.
All righty. So I think that was it for questions. I don't see any more. Nope. We do see you, not see you. We thank you for participating today. For attendees, there's a survey Q&R code on the screen. We were trying to get it into the chat, and for some reason it is not coming up, but it will be sent out afterwards. We ask if you have a moment to please just let us know what you think. With the businesses that are on the line, either Keisha Hall-Dilligard or myself, Nasha Ely, are affiliated with either of them. So if you have immediate questions, because we don't want 50 people inundating Kelsey with 50 questions, please, yes, you can follow up, but please kind of filter through us, because we are working on programming with some of them also. Just for full transparency, I've only met Kelsey one time because we just were connected to each other a few weeks ago, and she was gracious enough to participate today. So this is an emerging relationship to figure out what this is going to look like as we move forward. So we wanted to make sure that we had someone from that IT side here today, and she said yes to the session. So thank you, thank you, thank you. To all of our businesses, we greatly appreciate your time, all of the information that you shared today. And I mean, honestly, your commitment to working with organizations like ours, where we can both help individuals that are seeking employment or trying to promote or just get more information about what they want to do to get that today. If you have questions or want to follow up with anything that was mentioned today, contact information for myself and Keisha Hall-Dilligard are on the screen. As I said, we will keep you posted on those emerging opportunities that we are actively in process of developing. And as they come up, we will get that information out. This session was recorded and will be shared. So if you give us a week or so, we will get that in there and get that out to you. And otherwise, we just, again, thank you for being with us today. Thank you for the questions that were asked. If you did not ask a question that you remember later, feel free to shoot those questions to me and Keisha, and we will get those responses out to you. So to our guests, thank you again. To our sign language interpreters, thank you for being here with us today. We are wrapping up exactly at noon. So enjoy your lunch, and we will talk to you soon. Have a great week.